Today we're going to travel back in time 2 millennia ago to explore the thoughts of one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, Seneca. Our exploration will focus on a fundamental question, one that has perplexed minds for centuries. Why worry about what isn't real? Seneca, born in Cordoba, Spain in 4 BC, was not only a philosopher but also a statesman, a dramatist, and a tutor to the Roman Emperor Nero. But those are just titles. Beneath these labels, Seneca was a thinker, a man who sought to understand the complexities of life, the human mind, and the nature of reality. Let me tell you a personal story, one that I believe will resonate with many of you. A few years ago, I was facing a significant career decision. I had the opportunity to take on a new role, one that promised exciting challenges and potential growth. But with this opportunity came uncertainty and risk. I found myself consumed by worry. What if I failed? What if I couldn't meet the expectations of this new role? What if this decision was a mistake? For weeks, I was trapped in a cycle of anxiety, losing sleep, unable to focus on anything else. My mind was filled with images of failure, disappointment, and regret. It felt as though I was already living out the worst-case scenarios that my mind had conjured. One day, while scrolling through a philosophy forum online, I stumbled upon Seneca's quote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." It was as if Seneca was speaking directly to me across the centuries, urging me to challenge the reality of my worries. I realized that I was suffering, not because of my circumstances, but because of my perception of them. I was allowing my imagination, my fears of what might happen, to dictate my reality. This realization was a turning point for me. I began to question the validity of my fears. I realized that while I was consumed by the fear of failure, I had not given equal consideration to the possibility of success. I was allowing my mind, my prediction machine, to focus only on negative outcomes, ignoring the potential for positive ones. As I delved deeper into Seneca's philosophy, I discovered the power of living in the present moment. I realized that by worrying about the future, I was robbing myself of the joy and peace of the present. I was suffering in my imagination rather than living in reality. And so I decided to take the leap, to accept the new role. Yes, there were challenges, moments of doubt, even failures along the way. But there were also successes, growth, and fulfillment. None of my worst-case scenarios came true. In fact, my experience was far removed from the disaster I had imagined. Through this journey, I learned the truth of Seneca's words. I understood that the human mind is indeed a prediction machine, always anticipating what will happen next. But often it overestimates the likelihood of negative events, creating unnecessary worry and fear. This is where Seneca's wisdom comes in. He urges us to recognize the difference between what is happening and what might happen. He encourages us to question the reality of our worries, to distinguish between the product of our imagination and the truth of our experience. Seneca knew that the mind can be a master of deception, painting vivid pictures of disaster and despair that seem real but are merely illusions. This isn't to say that we should ignore potential problems or avoid planning for the future. Rather, Seneca's philosophy teaches us to manage our expectations and reactions. To worry is human, but to let worries control our lives is a choice. So how do we apply this philosophy in our lives? First, let's delve into the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness, as Seneca understood it, is the discipline of staying connected to the present moment. He professed, "Two elements must therefore be rooted out once for all, the fear of future suffering and the recollection of past suffering, since the latter no longer concerns me, and the former concerns me not yet." His words resonate deeply with our modern understanding of mindfulness. Often, we are so engrossed in past experiences or future uncertainties that we lose touch with the richness of the present moment. We find ourselves entangled in a web of regrets, haunted by the ghosts of the past, or worrying about the phantoms of the future. But in this constant oscillation between past and future, we overlook the only reality we have at hand, the present moment. Mindfulness is about anchoring ourselves in this present moment. It's a gentle but firm reminder to ourselves that the past is a memory and the future is a projection. Both are not real in the tangible sense. It's the present that's real, that's alive, that's flowing with the pulse of life, and it's this present moment that deserves our full attention. It's a challenging practice, especially in our fast-paced world where distractions are abundant and our minds are constantly pulled in different directions. But with persistence, we can train our minds to remain present, to savor the beauty of the here and now. When we become more present, we notice our worries for what they truly are, figments of our imagination, not concrete realities. Next, we can learn to practice acceptance. Seneca advised, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" It's essential to understand that this isn't a plea for passive resignation to fate. Instead, it's a call for active acceptance. Acceptance, in this context, is about acknowledging that there are elements of life beyond our control. We cannot control the weather, the passage of time, or the actions of others. Instead of ruminating over these uncontrollable aspects and causing ourselves unnecessary stress, we should focus on what we can influence: our thoughts, our emotions, our responses. In the face of adversity, we can choose to resist or to accept. Resistance often leads to suffering as we struggle against the current of life. Acceptance, on the other hand, is like swimming with the current. It doesn't mean we won't face obstacles, but we navigate them with greater ease and less distress. Last, we can strive to cultivate resilience. Seneca firmly believed that adversity isn't to be feared, but to be conquered. He stated, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Viewing challenges not as barriers but as catalysts for growth can profoundly shift our attitude towards adversity. Resilience is about enduring hardship with grace and emerging stronger on the other side. When we see challenges as opportunities for growth, as necessary friction that polishes our character, we liberate ourselves from the fear of adversity. We understand that we have the power to shape our reality, not necessarily by changing the circumstances, but by changing our perspective towards them. Each challenge we face is an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When we embrace this perspective, we not only free ourselves from excessive worry, but also step into a more empowered state of being. In the grand tapestry of existence, Seneca urges us to examine each thread that makes up our worries and fears, to separate the real from the unreal, the tangible from the illusionary. His philosophy is a beacon that shines a light on our inherent human propensity to dwell in the realm of the imagined, the not yet happened, the might never occur. He implores us to question the substance of our fears, to dissect them, to hold them up to the harsh light of reality and ask, are they real? Or are they mere shadows cast by the mind? Seneca's philosophy is a timeless and universal blueprint for life, an edifice of wisdom that has withstood the relentless march of millennia. Its pillars, mindfulness, acceptance, resilience, are the keystones that support the edifice of a fulfilled, worry-free life. They were as relevant to the citizens of ancient Rome as they are to us today, navigating the complex intricacies of the 21st century. Our journey through life is akin to sailing a ship on the vast ocean of existence. The ship is our mind, the ocean our life, and the winds our circumstances. Seneca's philosophy is the compass that guides us. It reminds us that we have the power to steer our ship, to set our course amidst the changing winds. We have the power to challenge our worries, to question their reality, to dare to ask, are we merely adrift, tossed around by imaginary storms, or are we the masters of our voyage? The human mind can be a labyrinth, a maze of illusions, fears, and worries. But it can also be our liberator, the key that unlocks the door to peace and tranquility. Seneca reminds us of this dual nature of the mind. He invites us to harness its power, to use it not as a prison of our making, but as a gateway to freedom from worry. Why worry about what isn't real? It's a question that seems so simple, yet is so profound. It's a question that exposes the wiring of our minds, the circuitry that compels us to fret about the imagined, the unreal. But with the tools of mindfulness, acceptance, and resilience that Seneca provides us, we can rewire our minds. We can break free from the cyclical dance of worry and fear, from the self-created mirage of torment. We can learn to live in the light of the present moment, basking in its warmth, embracing its reality. So the next time you find yourself standing at the precipice of worry, Remember the wisdom of Seneca. Remember that you hold the power to question the reality of your fears, to differentiate between the shadows and the substance. Remember that you possess the ability to live in the present, to bask in the richness of the now. Remember that you have the strength to respond to adversity not with fear, but with resilience, with fortitude, with courage. Seneca once said, "It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that they are difficult." These words are a powerful reminder that our lives are not shaped by the events that happen to us, but by our responses to them. They remind us that the essence of life lies not in avoiding the storm, but in learning to dance in the rain. So embrace the uncertainty, the unknown, the imaginary. Embrace it, question it, dissect it, and then bring it into the light of the real, the present, the tangible. This is the path to freedom, as prescribed by Seneca. It's a path that invites you to challenge the unreal, to live in the now, to respond to adversity with courage. It's a path that offers liberation from the self-imposed prison of worry. And that's the path I invite you to walk today and every day. For it's a path that leads not just to a life free from worry, but to a life filled with wisdom, understanding, and peace. It's a path that leads to the realization of the true power of the human mind, a path that leads to the very essence of what it means to be human.